Hi everybody, it is time to set up my bullet journal for the month of May 2022. It's funny, in a recent video where I talked about my planner kind of process that I do over the course of a week, and I'll link that down below. On the comments, one of you, Alex, mentioned, technically what I'm doing is not bullet journaling anymore. And you're not wrong, Alex. I just refer to it that way both because it's easier in my head to compartmentalize versus like fancy notebook, and also it's good for the YouTube gods. Let's take a look at what I did this last month really quick. I'm still in April. I have about a week and a half left of April when I'm filming this. Here was my cover, and I'm going to be basically repeating this just with a slightly different style, like similar setup, just a few different like tweaks to it because I loved it so much. And then here is my Project Stashdown and my Magnificent Century where they're filled in. So I filled in all of the things that I'm doing in the month of April for Project Stashdown. And then I am going to, at the end of the month, go through and update all of these and then decide which I'm carrying over, which I'll use the check mark or whatever for like this box to let me know if I'm going to finish it, carry it over, whatever. If you have not seen the Project Stashdown video, I'll link that below as well. But since I'm not at the end of the month yet, I am not ready to do this. Although I will be carrying over the Project Stashdown tracking because I'm going to continue it in the month of May. My Magnificent Century tracker, I've made it to episode 36. So I still have, 27 episodes left. That's another addition, like 50 some odd hours. So I don't think I'm going to need a new tracker this month. I think it'll take me through May to get to this point. I love this show, but it is a fucking time commitment. Anyway, so I'm going to leave the bookmark in here, but I'm not going to repeat this tracker this month. I will probably repeat it in June. It is helpful to let me know where I'm at because it's just, there's no easy way to keep track of where you're at in the way that it's like presented on YouTube. I can't show you a lot of it because I did a lot of the stuff I was writing down for my taxes in there, and I'm not showing you that because that's my personal business. Left myself a couple of empty spreads for May. Like I said in my update video, it was basically like a planner stack update as well as my current planner routine. Doing the daily brain dump just has not been working for me. It's useless. I'm doing it because I feel like I should be, not because I need it. And so instead I'm just using this for a running to-do list and other notes. Hence the fancy notebook. Anyway, let's get going for May. So before I get started, here is my supplies. I've got my passion journal, which I am hoping to last until the end of the year. This is May. The total number of pages is 210, and I am on 99, so there is a chance I will get through this notebook by the end of the year. I mean, like there's a chance I will have enough for one full year in this notebook. We shall see. In the meantime, yes, Passion Journal, and then I am using, this month, instead of my usual fine liners, I'm going to use the Scribbles That Matter fine liner. I got these when I was reviewing planners recently. I guess I'll link that below too. And I forgot how much I enjoy these. They remind me of like Statler's. It's in my hands, and so I'm going to use this one for my fine liner this month. I will also potentially be using my Pentel Energel RTX in case I need a pen like that. I have a cutting tool and a cutting mat, which I have not gotten out yet. Boom, boom, boom. I've got a satchel of markers and everything else. I also want to use, did I even put the washi tape on here? I feel like I didn't have room. No, I did put it on here. I'm really close to the end of this washi tape. I think I might use, does it match? It doesn't really match my colors, but does that really fucking matter? I may use it to line a couple of pages for my notes because I want to end this by the end of the month for Project Stashdown. I'm currently mostly just using it in my work planner, but I don't think I'm going to run out of it before then. So I may, actually, you know what? No, I have a couple of spreads left in the month of April. Since this is the washi tape, I'm using in the month of April, let's take a hot minute here and just do that. One trick, this may seem kind of like an obvious quote unquote trick, but one of my favorite little suave tricks from my early Bujo days was that I use my Artist Loft palette knife. It's just an angled palette knife from the craft store. And I take this, I cut the end, but then I take this and I just run it down the center. And that way it gives you the little break that it needs to like not get all gunked up in the center. Does that make any sense? I don't know. This may be hella crooked. I cannot see because I've got it pushed forward for the camera. But the things we do for love. What show is that from? Don't spoil what that scene is. But yeah, this just gives me like an additional usage of my Project Stashdown washi. And it means that these 2 pages for our to-do lists and various other items will be fancier than just a plain page. Because one thing I do in my notebooks when I'm just taking notes and shit is I don't use fancy lettering unless I'm like really motivated. I am so close to the end of this. So close. I'm going to finish this when I do my Moxie Life reflections or my work reflections when I use that to adapt those pages. Anyway, moving forward, supplies. I got all of those puppies, the cutting tools, the hens, everything. Okay, so then the next thing is, if you don't know, I've been using Banzer Artists every month for the quotes. And so far we've got Muse, Cake, Fleetwood Mac, and Billy Joel. In May, we're going to go with the Beatles. Now, I'm going to be a little more specific than that. I actually am only going to be quoting from one Beatles song. I have tons of favorite Beatles songs, as do, well, I don't know if I can say most people, because like, for example, my son does not care for the Beatles. He doesn't like hate them. He just thinks that their music is bland. Oh, my lad. And then I have a coworker, or an old coworker at Trader Joe's who hated them, but I think he hated them on principle because everybody else likes them. I don't know. Anyway, I love the Beatles. However, instead of quoting from a whole bunch of their massive catalog, I am quoting from just one song. And it's one of my favorite songs ever. Makes me so happy. And my kid actually sang it at my grandpa's funeral when they were a tiny guy. I think Kat was only like 7 at the time. Blackbird. So the flower for this month, as voted on by my patrons, I thought it was going to be tulips because tulips have lost the last couple of months. The people who want tulips really want tulips, but I put anemones as the newest like option, and anemones barely won. So I think for next month for my patrons, all of the options are going to be options we previously had because I think that will potentially allow for the tulips to win. Not that I'm trying, there's only been one time I like actively tried to sway my patrons into picking one. Normally I'd be happy with any of them. I think there's only one time. There may have been more. But knowing how like desperately the tulip people are like dying for it, they just want it so bad. I feel like I want to stack the deck for them this next month. I honestly thought the anemones weren't going to win this month, but I was wrong. And a big reason a lot of my patrons want to do me do tulips is not just that they like tulips, but one of the things I do for their live streams every month is I do a little session on my iPad where I show them how to doodle that month's flower. And there are people who want tulip doodles. Toodles, if you will. Anyway, so there's the anemone. I love anemones. You can find like white anemones with the dark center, but the ones that I am using as a inspiration this month are the really vibrant, like purple and magenta ones. And you'll see that in a few minutes when we put the color palette in. Anyway, moving forward. Cover page. I'm basically repeating, oh God, I hate it when I don't give enough washi tape slack. I'm basically repeating the April style. I actually this time used a Chrissy Ann Designs little sampler to trace, but I'm going to do the same thing. I just think I'm going to swap out the font, but I loved the like kind of Polaroid looking situation, and it makes even more sense because this month I will have a one little word tracker. And we'll talk more about that when we get past this section. But because of like the photo heavy nature of one little word, at least that's the way I've been kind of living it, it felt like a good idea to continue this sort of situation. I cannot believe I'm cutting this. I'm going to jinx myself because I'm saying I'm cutting it relatively straight. Speaking of which, I haven't really done much in the way of content around one little word, partly because I'm not a scrapbooker. And so this is something that's a little bit out of my comfort zone. Also, it's meant to be something that is for me to replenish myself, a hobby to replenish myself, which is my word of the year. However, if you guys are interested, I would love to do in June a kind of check-in for one halfway through the year, both my thoughts on the class so far, as well as showing you what I've done so far and potentially doing whatever the June project is with you on camera. I don't know. If that is something you're interested in, please let me know. All right. I'm not going to do any frames or anything until I know what's going on underneath here, but I think I'll do the flower up here and the words down here because it was the other way around. And so for the words, I really want to use some of these like more intense colors. No, yes. One way that you can kind of fake block letters is rather than drawing the block letters first, although I love doing that, and I'm not gonna lie, it also makes me feel extremely like a G when I do it. Like, look what I can do. But an easy way to fake block letters is to lay down some fat marker strokes, like this, and then go around them, which is what I'm gonna do. The key though with Tombows, especially because they can be inky, is to just watch out that you're not stamping your hand down. I'm going to take this lighter color. I'm not going to go with the purple. I'm going to go with the lighter, like pinky color. I guess it is also a purple. And I'm just going to drop in a drop shadow, which is like kind of smearing the purple around and the black. And I actually am not mad at it. I kind of think that looks cool, but I do need to kind of color it off so that my marker is not permanently disfigured from the colors. All right, so there's May, and then I'm just gonna put in the various colors. So like I said, I've got a mixture of purples and magenta, kind of pink, and then I've got a green and a black. Why is that red not the color? Okay, the picture I took, the color is very different. Huh. I only tried to brighten it up a little bit just to make it, because sometimes taking pictures in here is not, whatever, it's fine. And then we've got a black, because anemones often have a very dark center. And then I will just go back in with my fine liner and draw the boxes in. I'm not being mega neat because it doesn't really matter that much to me. The sloppy look is fine. All right, now time to draw said anemone. And this time I'm gonna go with I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to draw in with the markers and then add detail after. So I'm trying to create a gradient here on the petals because that is something that you see in a real life anemone. This first one I colored down a bit too far with the dark purple. So now I'm going to try to get a little bit more of the lightness in here. But what I'm doing is I'm basically coloring down with the dark purple after doing the lighter purple and then reblending with the lighter purple to kind of create that bit of a gradient. It seems to be working out relatively okay. It's a nice part. These are not alcohol Tombows. These are the standard water-based ones. If you use the alcohol ones, you'd be able to get a much better blend on. But I don't want to bleed through my paper. This is not paper that can handle alcohol markers. And it's not bleeding, so we're doing okay. It's like doing that thing where the paper's getting a little like wobbly from a lot of ink on it, but it's not bleeding. It's just, so far at least. I actually love how that looks. And I don't think I'm going to go super deep with lots of petals, but I am going to take maybe this darker color and just add a little bit to these petals, like on the edge. to add some like more depth. And then what I'll do is I'll just do the full-blown darker petals here in the back. And then we'll just add a couple of loose leaves here. And here. And now we'll go and we'll take this guy and we'll add some quick details. And I love how this looks, and I think doing too much around the edges is gonna be, it's just gonna be a hot mess. So I think what I might just do is take the butt end of this black marker and just do a quick, but not too quick because I don't want to accidentally draw on like the other page. Shit, like that. We'll fix that in a second. I love doing the like, damn it, did it again. The like loose drawings. So let's, okay, good. One of them only a little bit. Every once in a while I'm like, oh, should I mention the white at the beginning? I'm not gonna need it. I'm always gonna need it. Okay, as a cover page though, I love this. It's very vibrant, but still kind of keeping in the style of the rest of them. I'm worried about turning this over. I feel like it might still be moist. And it might like leave a scum. So we'll just take that paper and use that as a buffer. All right, but see here, there's a little bit of like a warpedness going on here from that much ink, but it still stood up. So this paper is actually pretty nice. All right, on this page, I'm going to be doing another Project Stashdown tracker. I am just going to be doing it slightly differently than I did the previous one. What I'm going to do is alternate colors for each box, for each type of Stashdown. I also had a tracker that I created and I gave as my freebie in my newsletter. If you did not get that, patrons got it as well. If you did not get that, you can either join my Patreon or sign up for my newsletter. The information is below. That is not what I wanted to do. 1, 2, 3. I miscounted. So I'm just gonna move the planner stuff to the top, which is totally fair. And the reason I miscount, like I didn't want to miscount, is because for the planner supplies, I do more. Planner and stationery is the category that I do a lot of items versus the other categories where I do like 2 or 3. Anyway, I haven't even fully decided what my items are going to be yet, purely because I haven't gotten to the end of the month yet. I'm just fucking freeballing it. In part because I'm lazy, and in part because I want to demonstrate to you that it's okay to be lazy. Mostly because I'm lazy though. All right, I'm gonna put my quote in when I'm done with this page because I'm not done with it yet. So, and now I am going to reverse the colors and I am going to put in 31 lines, and I will explain this in a minute. Or I guess I'll explain it in voiceover. So what I'm doing here is a tracker for my Ali Edwards One Little Word project for May. So from everything I have been told, May is a practice. It's meant to be like a habit, something that you do every day of the month to bring you closer to your word or some hippie bullshit like that. So what I decided to do, because I was trying to think of it, and part of me was like, ooh, let's meditate. And I was like, ugh. Then I was like, ooh, let's do yoga. And I was like, So what I have is this mindfulness card deck that I ordered from Ali Edwards because I thought I might use these as like journaling cards, you know, to write on the back of, because that's one way to use it, or to just use them as something to put into my One Little Word project. But I decided instead what I'm going to do is every day in the month of May, I'm going to draw one of these and I'm going to do what it says. So the reason I'm doing this, A, is to use this deck. B, is to keep it interesting rather than trying to do the same thing every day for a month. This gives me some variety. But also, I think it'll give me some ideas on maybe self-care things or new habits to bring into maybe the third quarter of the year. Plus, I feel like in May, this could be a lot of fun. As an example, declutter who you follow on social media, say yes to something sign up to volunteer in your community. There's a whole bunch of different things in here, and so I think this could be very interesting. I have to decide when I'm going to do it each day, which I haven't decided yet. But what I want to do with this is to write down what it is that I did that day. If I don't do it, then there won't be anything on that space. But at least this way I'll keep track of all of the things I did. Anyway, now that I've explained what that is, I'm going to put some lettering in, and then we'll put the quote in. And the quote I'm going to use, because I didn't do a quote. Oh, I was going to do a quote on my cover page, and I totally forgot. So we're going to just do the quote all at once I'm done with this. Not my best lettering, but I'm not really worried about it. I'm going to put doodling on here because these pages, there's just not a lot of room, and I'd rather put the quote on here. So what I am going to do is perhaps use the green, because I haven't used the green hardly at all. And what I'm gonna do is I'm using it from Blackbird. I'm gonna just do one entire piece of Blackbird. So on this page, we're gonna put Blackbird singing in the dead of night, take these broken wings and learn to fly. And then on this page, the whole reason I started this was because of the end. All your life, and then here, you were only waiting for this moment to arise. That was the whole thing that got me thinking maybe I should just do that whole quote over the course of this little layout. So this is not the fanciest bullet journal setup, but it's colorful and like vibrant and like kind of rich in color, and that's the thing I'm craving now that we're heading into spring. So I think that this is going to be where I show you where we've at. We've got this cover page with the quote on it and the colors, Project Stashdown, one little word, and this is where I'm at for my setup. It's very basic, but it's something like I used this last month, and it's because I didn't need to check in with it every day, but I did check in with my Magnificent Century every few days or so to keep track of where I was at. What I may wind up doing is keeping out the cards that I have used and then maybe updating this once a week. I'm not sure yet how I'm going to do it. I'll keep you updated on it. Maybe I'll talk about it when I do my one little word video in June, if that's something you guys are interested in, on how I did it. But it's, you know, my habit, my previous experience of being shitty with staying on top of trackers in my bullet journal might come into play here, but I think I'll be able to do this. So we'll see how it goes. I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Something you are doing. Are you doing one little word? If you are, what practice are you thinking of taking up in the month of May? Otherwise, just let me know a habit that you are interested in developing sometime in the near future. Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, my friends, peace.